What is going on, guys? Skullhead here, and today we're gonna be talking finally about some somewhat solid zombies info, depending on if you believe leaks or not. I am someone who believes leaks a lot, and then also some finally solid info from Treyarch, and when we will be getting this reveal, to be honest, and a whole bunch of goodies. Any of the stuff that I talk about in this video is info that came from the Gaming Revolution's new video. A lot of the stuff is going to be repeated from that. I'm going to make sure to go ahead and leave that down in the description and make sure that I give proper credit where credit is due. But man, today we saw the start of the Zombies viral marketing campaign that will be taking place on Pawn Takes Pawn, and they sent a bunch of YouTubers terminals, literally what looks like the Black Ops 1 terminal, and I don't know what they're doing. Treyarch is literally crazy, off their gourd, freaking crazy with this game, and I am honestly really excited because they're putting so much effort into this game. I think they want especially zombies to reach and break boundaries it's never broken before. There's gonna be a lot of interesting things that Zombies does this year that hopefully brings in more of a casual audience, along with more hardcore diehard audience that can start to rebuild and break out of this toxic mold that we've been in since the beginning of maybe BO4. Even a little bit before Zombies Chronicles, there was this toxicness that was clouding this community and has been ever since, with this whole elitist mindset. But why I think this new marketing campaign is zombies related is, one, because Tom Henderson, who is a pretty reputable leaker too, basically confirmed that this is the beginning of the Zombies marketing campaign and that we will be getting the full reveal before the beta. And two, whenever Noah J put in his terminal code, it gave us a pawn take pawn / waves of attack URL. So what attacks in waves? Zombies. So it just makes sense that it's gonna be a zombies reveal, and I was thinking that we'd get it before the beta. I just think October's too late at that point. But yeah, until tomorrow there isn't really much to talk with that. I just wanted to touch on it in this video. But onwards to the real big news and info dump that the great Gaming Revolution dropped on our heads yesterday. Let's just go ahead and start off right off the bat. Yes, we are getting a Noct remake, but it is going to be called Die Machine, which means the machine in German, and it is codenamed ZM_Silver. This is something that Treyarch has been doing internally since BO4 now, to basically hide where maps are going, because in BO3 you had ZM_Island, you had ZM_ Genesis, you had ZM_ Castle. So like all these names got leaked beforehand because of them naming the maps where they're going to be located. So basically they've done that now to hide. But then you have leaks like this that basically gets rid of any of that code naming and everything. The machine also, like, the name the machine might have something to do with the story that I'm going to touch on way later on down the list of things that I'm going to be talking about today. As you saw in the teaser trailer, you have a flashlight until you turn on power. The actual map, the outside portion of the map, is set during the day, which I think is a very interesting contrast to this dark facility that you're going to be starting out in, and then almost like this paradise of, oh, you see the light, let's get out of here. You can go outside the knocked facility, and the knocked facility is being reused by the Russians during the Cold War, and there's somehow the Nazis are going to be involved too. And this is going to be a very interesting story stuff, because like, how did the Nazis and Soviets get involved too? There was a leaked screenshot that came out. I'm not going to go too insanely detailed into it. Gaming Revolution does. All that I'm going to say is that there's a new door coming out of the help room in Knocked. There's lots of graffiti on the wall. The mystery box. There was a mystery box location, but there wasn't even a mystery box. In the image, there was a perk that looked like it was Deadshot's machine. So, Deadshot's coming back. But apparently in the mystery box in this new game, there's not going to be a teddy bear. It's going to be a bunny rabbit, like a blue bunny doll, which is going to be interesting. The storyline is going to take place after Tag, so especially if like the bunny was a thing that we saw in Revelations and has been one of Samantha's toys before, so like, could Eddie and Sam be involved with this new universe and everything? So it's like we're walking out at the end of Tag down that tunnel, probably entering a new universe. So maybe we could see Eddie and Sam in trouble again. Another thing is there will be a tutorial mode coming back. There's a part of the map that has a plane crash, the original plane crash basically from the original Knock, but who knows if that plane crash has something different, because this is a new story. So this is going to be very interesting to cover over the next few months and past launch and everything. This story already is getting me a little interested. Knocked will also be its own survival map. Maybe you unlock it after doing the Easter egg on the map or something like that. Wouldn't be surprised if they added a tiny bit more to the outside of the map or anything, but it'll more than likely be like a more Groston House type map where you just, it's small, you get to just survive on it. I also think they'll do a lot of, maybe they'll even add like a pack-a-punch to the map or something that like you can do an Easter egg for or something. It could be very interesting because these remakes and remasters can be different from the old storyline because they aren't in that storyline anymore. They're going to be new versions. And that's why I think this game, more so than BO4, will do remakes properly, and the community won't view remakes as such a terrible thing. It seems like they're gonna make these maps entirely different, whereas, say, an Alpha Omega feels just like Nuketown again. But there's gonna be a third launch map too. Noct is sort of, you don't really have to consider its own map. It's more like half a map, but it's another survival map, which I will take any survival maps we can get. But this third map will be called Firebase Z and is going to be a Vietnam zombies map, codename ZM_pink. And it's not going to be a main focus of the story, and there aren't too many details on this Vietnam map, which I'm really happy about. I want this one to be a sort of a surprise, since like This is going to be probably mainly an original map. We're probably going to only see 2 or 3 of completely original maps this year, to be honest, just because we're getting the maps for free. And this is a new story. Why not use nostalgia to bring in this this new story? Maybe down the line we'll start getting more original maps whenever the story's more fleshed out, but I don't know, man. I just don't see us getting too many original maps this year, and I'm completely fine with it as long as the remakes don't feel like the old remakes, whereas they feel like genuinely new maps and new areas that we can explore, a new story and everything. You can do remakes properly as long as they are fully fleshed out and high budget. That's basically it for launch maps, other than Dead Ops Arcade 3, but I'm going to touch on that later. But yes, Dead Ops Arcade 3 is coming back. We're going to start talking about DLC maps that have been talked about and thrown around that I definitely can see happening since we're starting with Knocked. Season 4 of Black Ops Cold War is going to be whenever we're supposed to be seeing this DLC map, and that is Berlin, codename ZM_Platinum, and it has a very big probability of it being a Kino remake and the theater coming back. But how I see them doing the theater is it could be widely expanded, and Kino didn't have much story to it either, so if they really like hammer in story into the map and like everything, it could be so different from the original Kino that we could even forget that the original Kino existed, to be honest. Kino will probably be like a small section, just like Knock is, and I've already touched on that. And that's supposed to be releasing with Season 4 of Black Ops Cold War. I don't know if I said that already. Probably did. But the next map, I don't know how people are going to feel about this, is Codename Giant. And everybody's going to know what that is. And that's a possible Dur-Reese remake with a full expansion. And I also wouldn't be surprised if, since Knocked is getting its own survival map variant, these maps will probably get their own survival map variant just to give us even more content with the maps. And that's probably also why they're doing it, because that gives us more content to play with, and it could honestly work out really well in the end. I am an optimist, not a pessimist. I'm gonna be optimistic about this game, and I honestly really enjoy what Treyarch's been doing with this game so far. I enjoyed the alpha. Yeah, it's a little rough, but it just needs more polish. That's about it. And I believe Treyarch can get a lot of polish done on the game. There is no transit though right now. There is no transit, or any of the Victus maps aren't really making a return as of right now. We could see that change in a year or so, but I don't know. I just don't think we're gonna see it. If I'm gonna be honest, I think that might just be scrapped and gone. I don't see the Victus maps coming back this game. People are trying to hold on to them, but I know that's a lot of content thrown away from BO4, but unless we see it in its own map pack or something, I don't see them coming back for a while at least. And the final map I'm going to talk about is Dead Ops Arcade 3, and apparently that has some connection with Warzone, and I'm expecting them to do either a full-on Easter egg hunt for this. You have to do an Easter egg in zombies, or since right away we're being told it's connected with Warzone. There'll probably be some sort of terminal in Warzone, to be honest, knowing Treyarch. But I also have a full list of bosses that are going to be in Dead Ops, which is going to be Cosmic Silverback, Cosmic Silverback's mom, which is apparently in the intro cutscene to Dead Ops Arcade 3, a hazmat suit zombie, Brutus, Nova Crawlers, for some reason the Blight Fathers in this, the Avogadro is possibly in there, a new Gladiator style boss that looks very similar to the one from 9, or looks sort of similar. It doesn't, I think from what I've heard, it's similar, but it's definitely new. And then there's a Vietnam experiment, looks similar to OG Vietnam concepts from the OG Black Ops 1 DLC 3 that Raven was working on before they had to scrap it and go with a Vietnam map. And that zombie will probably be on Firebase Z, and I think that having Dead Ops Arcade 3 there on launch is just gonna be such an insane cherry on the top of all this content that it feels like there's so much content coming out just at launch. And I think they're not giving themselves too much work to do this time around. I think it's definitely not near as bad as BO4, with Noct already being a part of a map, so basically it being its own separate version. It's smart too. I like it. It's extra content. But anyways, we're gonna move on into the perks and everything, and there's lots of conflicting info out there right now with perks. We don't completely know, but there's been quite a few solid things that we've been hearing, and that starts with canned perks. The perks are going to be coming in cans now rather than soda bottles, which I think could be so sick if they do the animations right, where you like crunch the can and like throw it or something. It just could be really fun animations. And the machines look very World War II-esque aesthetic wise, but I feel like a lot of the perk machines right now are in early concept, aren't completely finalized. The perks that are in the game right now, which this is gonna probably all change, to be honest, is Stamina Up, Deadshot, a new perk called Elemental Pop, which I was sort of thinking, because there's no Widows being talked about, or no Winter's Wail, I'm thinking Elemental Pop might be our Widow's Wine type, because Elemental Pop, it just makes sense if like someone hits you, it pops out some sort of elemental attack. Maybe you could throw off like fire or like freeze the zombies, something that could be cool. That could be very interesting, but that's just pure speculation on my end. Quick Revive, Jug, Speed, they're all in the game. They're all 2.0 versions. So even Jug is a little bit different. So it seems like these perks are going to even change a little bit. There might be Electric Cherry in the game too. That's been conflicted. Double Tap has been rumored to be the BO4 double Pack-a-Punch system, but at the same time it's also been rumored that the perk is in the game. I think that's something that we're probably going to see the perk in the game because people want the perk in the game. And I just think that there's a lot of different builds that they're working on right now, and there's a lot of different things they're trying to make final decisions on. And it's not easy building a game, especially during this pandemic right now. But one thing I'm really excited for is each perk is going to have 4 levels of upgrading, similar to perk modifiers from BO4. So 4 levels of perk modifiers could be insane. We could be tanks by the end of the game, and I would love that. If there's like a bunch of progression throughout the game where you're just upgrading everything, and just a bunch of upgrades, that could be so cool. going back to what I was saying, there's just so many different decisions being made right now. I don't think a lot of stuff is concrete. Even in multiplayer, I feel like day by day their builds are changing so much. But anyways, onwards into specialist weapons / specialist abilities. I'd call these more abilities than weapons. And that would be a healing aura, which is probably going to be similar to like whenever you throw down the staff in BO4 and the Chaos story, and revive people, or it just like heals people around you if they're getting hit. Frost Blast might be, also going back to that elemental pop idea, that might be how they balance when widows and everything, where you just get hit and it just blasts frost and then it's on a recharge. And then Aether Shroud, I have no clue what this is going to be. And then Energy Mine, I'm thinking the Energy Mine is going to be like the mine in MP that you just throw down. That's a specialist ability or field upgrade. You might be able to select these in before the game. I hope that they either have it where you make these things in game, or you do select it in the menu, but make more lethal specialist weapons that you can swap out like in game, and do a quest for a more powerful specialist weapon that's similar to, say, like a Gauntlet of Siegfried or something. I think that would be a really cool system. I don't know if Treyarch could make that happen, but it could be really cool. Talking about some changes to the box. Every single gun in the box has a specific rarity to it now. Similar to Fortnite and Warzone. So there's going to be like probably a gray through orange rarity system, and orange is going to be like your rarest of rare weapons, and gray is going to be your worst weapons. And I really like that. That's a really good way to be able to gauge how often you're going to get a gun in the box, and I think that's an amazing thing. I'm hoping they bring back being able to give other people your weapons from the box, which I doubt they would take that functionality from BO4. They'd probably look at BO4 and be like, yeah, that's something we need to add still. Pack-a-Punch is obtained through a quest and also a buildable. I don't know exactly what this means. I'm guessing that you obtain the buildables through a quest, but who knows. Double pap abilities return from BO3 and 4. There's a new ability called Codename Plasmatic Burst, and there are also a bunch of boss zombies, and apparently are decently easy to take out, which I always like to hear. You want them to be sort of an annoyance than something that's bringing down your game, more something that throw you off a little bit. There's lots of new and old bosses, and this touches on story stuff a little bit, but it could be because of them coming out of the Dark Aether and just story. We'll get onto that towards the end of the video, but let's start out with the Pyro Panzer, which has a jetpack and is very similar to the OG Panzer. I really like the thought of a Panzer coming back, because he's probably one of the better zombie bosses, and probably the first thing that comes to your head next to Brutus. There's a hazmat zombie, which you can actually spot in the teaser. There's a Russian mech similar to the Mangler from Gorod, which it's gonna be new, but I'd like to see a Mangler type boss come back, because I really like the Mangler, and it's not too much of a challenge to defeat. There's gonna be a Mimic zombie, which just sounds weird but interesting. There's gonna be a Nova dog, or a Nova Hellhound. Basically a Nova 6 crawler and a Hellhound put together, which I think is a very good way to balance out Nova 6 crawlers, because they're really annoying. So just mix the dogs with the crawlers, and it could work out great. You never know. There's going to be a summoner zombie, which can summon different enemies, which I like the idea of. It could be interesting. It seems like they're trying to do some different stuff with the boss zombies compared to BO4, where it felt very samey. And there is a very possibility of Brutus and even the Avogadro being on Die Machine, just because they have been found referenced on the map, I think in the code. And also, they could be leaking out of the Dark Ether, like I was saying before. So it could make sense, even like just seeing Brutus coming back. We're getting pretty close to story here. Bear with me. We're gonna start talking about the characters and everything, which is gonna be Adler and Baker are for sure playable in Zombies, and it might be a similar character system to World War II with different character unlocks and outfits and everything, which I think is super cool. Gregory Weaver, which is someone you see in the teaser, is gonna be basically the commanding officer and plays a similar role to Hank Rideau from World War II, doing mission briefings and basically briefing us on the maps and everything. But he also will be talking to us probably over a radio in game, and could be an unlockable character down the line. And Steiner from the BO1 campaign is involved somehow too. The regular ray gun is coming back, and the new wonder weapon on Die Machine is called the Ray Rifle, and I love that we're starting out with ray gun type wonder weapon on our first map in this game. That's exactly how it should be. There's also a possible teleporter system / portal system, and a gondola is on the map too. There's the buildable system there's going to be a shield, and apparently there's going to be a jetpack that has like 5 parts and probably will be on a cooldown. I think the jetpack could be really cool and be really fun too, especially if there's like a gondola part, be able to go up different places. Something we haven't seen in Zombies before, and could be a content machine. There's also going to be a thing called the Aether Scope, which shows old storyline flashbacks when looking at certain things on the map, certain areas and texture walls and stuff. It's going to be interesting. That's such an interesting idea, and it'll be a nice way of bringing in some nostalgia and everything. They're going to look like the weird glitches in the trailer, in the teaser trailer and everything. So that could be really cool, and a great way to give us some old storyline stuff, even though we're not going to be getting anything new. It's just going to be good old flashbacks to the old Aether, knowing that it's still there. Melee weapons similar to the shovel from World War II, possibly time trials coming back, or ways to earn more powerful melee weapons is a possibility. I think that could be a very big possibility of coming back, and like melee weapons similar to the shovel from World War II. Like, I feel like time trials were such a good thing in Garrood and Rev that they should bring it back 100%. Self-revive is probably coming back from World War II, but I'm thinking it's going to be similar to like the Warzone self-revive, where you like inject yourself and stim yourself up and have to revive yourself like that. The microtransaction system in the game is elixirs, but that's going to change. Those systems are finalized literally last minute. Those usually aren't decided on until like 2 or 3 weeks before launch. Menu music is Damned 4, which I'm so excited for more Damned. That's always what the Zombies main menu music should be. There's a proper way to win Zombies this year. I don't know. It's so weird. These next few points just are absolute game changers and could really make this year different. And that is potentially two different modes. You got your regular survival and then a quest mode for Easter eggs. We might be finally also getting proper loot for doing main quests, and there are multiple different endings on Die Machine. A good ending, perfect ending, and there are multiple partial endings, I think. And how I think the quest mode might work is we'll get thrown into the map, and it could be just something where it's just endless waves, where they start on like maybe round 15, 20 health, and you start out with like a bunch of points and you just go on and try to do the quest. That's how I think it might be. It's going to be definitely something where you can do the quest, but it still feels like zombies, I think. And I think there should be a way to be able to do them in survival, and I'm sure Treyarch would listen after a while if there isn't at launch. But those two things get me very excited, and like multiple endings, and just this year is going to be insane. It's going to be very different. This game sounds so different from anything we've played before, zombies wise, and honestly a little bit different Call of Duty wise in general. This game has a very different vibe to it. But last but not least, the thing everybody's probably been waiting for and waiting to hear about is that story, the small little snippet that the Gaming Revolution talked about, and his take on the story, I think, is very likely to be sort of similar to what's going on in Die Machine. And that is, the story takes place after Tag, after the universe has been reset and corruption has been sent into the dark aether. On Die Machine, it seems like stuff from the dark aether is starting to leak out. The facility is being used somehow by Soviets and Nazis, and that the theory right now is that it could be a machine built by the Soviets and or Nazis to mess with or tamper with the dark aether and start spiraling this universe out of control. And that might also explain old bosses coming back, and like that also goes back to like the map literally being called the Machine. It makes sense if like you were able to like figure out that there's this machine on this map that has literally been tampering with the aether and everything and bringing out these old bosses and everything and start summoning these zombies. It could be such a cool storyline, and where we start to see the old leak in and bring out some old nostalgic things, and then also maybe bringing back, there's even been talks of like the Apothegons and Keepers possibly coming back in some way, where they either are like brought back together because they've been in the dark aether and stuff. And I definitely think there's going to be a lot of nostalgia and references to the old story, and I think they're just going to be trying to do a lot of stuff to merge the two together, because everybody wants that old story, and I think they're doing a absolutely perfect job so far with the handling of the story and having it be set after Tag, so it still has a slight tie to that old story, and we have 100% ether just mechanics. And Treyarch seems to be listening, and I believe that Treyarch is listening, and I don't think we're going to have another BO4 on our hands. Who knows if it will be ever as popular as BO3, but I definitely think we're in for a good fun ride this year. But anyways, this was a very long video, and this is the longest video I think I've uploaded in years. But if this doesn't say anything about how excited I am for Black Ops Cold War, I don't know what does. I'm so excited for this game. I'm going to be trying to stream some more zombies on Twitch. I am starting to work more on my zombies map and really start ramping that into production. And yeah, if you want to keep up with news related to me, follow those links down below. My Twitch and my Twitter. We're going to be doing so much Black Ops Cold War stuff this year. We're only getting started. The beta is going to be, there's going to be so much content. I'm going to do a trailer breakdown of the new Zombies trailer whenever that comes out, which I'm thinking is going to be next week. And that's my prediction right now. I'm going to stream whatever happens tomorrow, and we're just going to go hard. This is my year. And I'm saying that, and I mean it. But anyways, thank you all for watching. That'll be it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, boneheads.